Hello everybody, in today's video we are going to install the OpenBSD 7.0 on AMD 64-bit. I'll use the AMD Ryzen 5 1600X, 32 gigs of RAM and Samsung SSD 250 gigs of storage. So before we start, you will need to download the OpenBSD. In my case, download the right USB image for your platform. In this case, that's AMD64 in my case. I downloaded it and I put that one on USB. So from there, you'll need to set up the BIOS. I strongly advise that you use a hard drive, a dedicated hard drive for the OpenBSD. Make sure that first boot device is actually that USB, and it's going to be recognized as Wi-Fi USB. So in this case, that's a SanDisk. And second option in the boot order will be actually the hard drive where I'm going to install the OpenBSD. In my case, that's Samsung SSD 860 EVO 250 gigs. For some reason it doesn't want to get selected, but let's give it a try. I've never seen this until now. No, it worked. So it didn't work. It didn't recognize the click from the mouse, but it actually recognized the keystroke. And also make sure that the only Wi-Fi is supported. Don't go with Wi-Fi and Legacy Opera, whatever it's called on your. It might be Wi-Fi and MBR or Wi-Fi and BIOS or Wi-Fi and Legacy. Just use Wi-Fi only boot device control. With OpenBSD, when you also select Legacy, on my machines, I had issue that the bootloader wasn't set up correctly, and also active partition wasn't selected, by the way, so I couldn't boot into the OpenBSD. However, this small change in BIOS settings makes a huge difference. After that, go to exit and save. Your BIOS might look different, but the principles are still the same. Again, I'm using the real machine, so I really want to show you the experience on the dedicated machine of yours. So, and also I use OpenBSD as a daily driver for my needs. So installer is booting up right now, and install is really pretty straightforward, so I'll show you. So welcome to the OpenBSD AMD64 7.0 installation program, and then you have a choice to install, upgrade, auto install, or go to shell. So I'll go to install, just press I and then enter. Choose a keyboard, go with default, system hostname. I have a specific way how I do these things, so I'll use it. I'll call it OpenBSD 7.0.com. Which network interface do you wish to configure? EM0, that's my Ethernet. By the way, I don't have the wireless attached. In the future, I might actually have the USB attached, and I'm installing everything on the desktop. IPv4 address for EM0, yes, go with autoconf. So I'll use DHCP, and it'll auto configure my network. It takes a couple of moments. All right, so it says no DHCP address on interface EM0 in 30 seconds. Check if network is actually configured. Connected. Yes, everything's connected. All right, for now, let's just go with what we have. Autocom for none, for IPv4 none, which network interface which wish you to configure and done, password for the root account, enter your secure password, start SSHD by default, that's SSH daemon. Do you want to X Windows system to be started by xenodm? No. Why no? I also have AMD GPU VEGA 64. That's a couple years old GPU, still relevant. I really want the desktop acceleration and the larger screens to run on. Change default console to COM0. No. Set up a user. Yes. So I'll just use my user, my username Antastic, and then enter the full name for your user, and also type secure password. Make sure you use a different password and a strong password than one used for the root. Allow root SSH. No login. We don't want root user to SSH. What time zone you are? I'm in Europe, Central Europe. Yes. Available disks, and I'll go with question mark just to see what disks I have. Here, don't go with default. Recognize from the list your hard drive. You'll see on SD0 I have NVMe. On SD1 I have something else, and actually on SD2, SD3 is the one that we are installing on. That's Samsung SD860, 250 gigs of storage. All right, so from the list you can recognize your own SSD or hard drive, depends what you're using, and in my case that's SD3. So I'll type SD3, enter, use a hole as MBR or a hole as GPT. Let's go with GPT. Type G, enter. Auto layout, edit auto layout or create custom layout. Auto layout, A, enter. Which disk do you wish to initialize? None anymore. And as you can see, the file system is the FFS, fast file system. Let's install the sets, location of the sets, HTTP, yes. Is there any proxy? There is no proxy. Which HTTP server should be used? In my case, that's FTP, fr, openbsd.org, the French mirror, yes. Server directory, default. And then select sets. All sets are selected by default. Go with that, type none, done, and just press enter, and that's it. And now you basically wait for packages to get installed. All right, so location of sets, done. Basically, we're done installing all default sets. Now we're linking to create a unique kernel. One of the features of the OpenBSD is actually security. So what I'm doing right now, they're creating the unique kernel only for your system. And every system basically has a unique kernel, so attacks are way harder. So the attack that might work on your computer is not going to work on mine, theoretically. Exit to shell, halt or reboot. So right now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to reboot, and then I'll go to BIOS and then change that the boot order. So hard drive is first, and there is no other boot device in a list. So R, enter. Press delete F2, whatever is on your computer. Just the point is to get to BIOS. Right. Once you are in the BIOS, go to boot and change the boot order. Make sure that your hard drive is first, and the other one can be left as it is or can be disabled. I'll just disable it for the convenience reasons, and the only hard drive being booted is going to be hard drive where we just installed OpenBSD. Then go to exit, save, and OK. so now for the first time, we're going to boot the OpenBSD from the hard drive where we installed the fresh system. Right, so now we're gonna log in. First is root. You can log with multiple users at the same time. Just press Ctrl Alt F2 on this terminal. You can so here I'm gonna log in as the regular user. So the idea is to allow doas to work. Currently I can't use doas is not enabled because I need to create that file. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'll go Ctrl Alt F1, and then I'll first need a couple of packages. I need Vim as editor. You can use Nano if you like Nano. Just type pkj_add Vim space Nano, enter. So in my case, I will need Vim without X11 support, so that's number 5. Great, so now as root vim etc doas.conf, and what you're gonna type is permit persist wheel. Why is this important? So we want to permit user from the group wheel, and every user created should be part of the wheel. When you're part of the wheel, you can change the user while you're logged in. For example, your own user, and then you can switch to another user in the same console. And persist is keep for some time the password which you type, so you don't have to type it every time on every subsequent execution of doas. Save, exit. Now let's Control F2. Let's test now if it works. Permission operation not permitted. So log out. Log in again. doas ls operation not permitted. So let's check everything. Persist will permit persist will obviously we'll need to, it looks like we'll need to reboot the machine. But for now, I'll just keep it. Exit. Now what we need to install is add xfc. All right, so I want to install the desktop environment. So let me first show you the instructions, what you need to do. You can find instructions if you type OpenBSD install xfce, and then there is a really good tutorial called installing OpenBSD 7.0 on your laptop. Is really hard not. And then basically we're going to follow these instructions. So after we install the system, the next thing is, let me just show you how the website looks. This is the website. It's excellent website. Called the running OpenBSD 7.0 on your laptop is really hard not. And then there are multiple instructions for multiple versions of OpenBSD. We're gonna follow the one for 7.0, and everything else is configured and set up. So just let's go from here. What we need to do is we need to update the firmware. So if we update, and it's going to download the closed source non-free / proprietary firmware for your hardware. Unfortunately, we live in this kind of world, so there is some price we have to pay. So not everything is open source, really. So after that, we will need, okay, network is configured. So let's go with syspatch. So we want to upgrade the OpenBSD. So you just type syspatch as root. Give it a couple of moments. It doesn't show anything on the screen. No indication that something is happening, but it is. So just give it a try. Again, the unique kernel is created. So let's switch back to tutorial. Network setup. We don't need it. Next thing is so installing the XFCE, Firefox Power Manager, and so on. So let's go there. So what you need to do is package add. Just to show you one thing, if you want to search for a package, you type pkj_info -Q, and you type, for example, XFCE, and it'll list you all XFCE packages. Here we're going to install the complete, like the group of the packages, the base one, XFCE, then XFCE extra, then Firefox. We need some browser so we can search internet. Then we need XFCE4 Power Manager and uPower. Enter, and it's gonna take some time right now to install all of this. You will notice that package add is slower than what I'm used to on Arch Linux, which is Pacman, and Alpine Linux, where I use APK. Probably there is a good reason why it's this slow. I don't know the exact reason, but it's noticeable. I really don't care if this is slow, because I'll not do this every few minutes. This might happen once a day or once a week. So it's like once in a while. But if I get like security improvements and the benefits, I really don't care about the slow package manager. I mean, there are also other reasons. This might depend also on the mirror that you're using. It might also depend on the hard drive on which you're installing. It might also depend on many other factors for a given machine. All right, so finally installation is done. So what I'm going to do right now, I'll reboot. Shutdown -R now. So when I reboot, you will notice something different. The complete terminal resolution will change, the fonts will slightly change, and that's due to AMD GPU driver actually being used for rendering the output on the screen. Also, resolution will change. There might be some flickering, whatever, but when that happens, at some point you'll notice that something is different. And that usually means that your GPU is working and driver is also working. So I'm not going to BIOS now, I'm just going to wait for the boot process to end. You just saw. So usually that means that driver is activated, and the side effect is actually that the system is wider right now, so it fits the screen, the complete console fits the screen. So I'll log in as root. I'll first check if do's.conf is configured correctly. Permit persist wheel, yes. And now Control-Alt F2. I'll log in as my user. Say do as ls not permitted. All right, this might be actually the issue for that I'm not part of the wheel group, so I can fix that by typing user mode g wheel and basic. Control-Alt F2, and now let's log in again and basic. Do as ls operation not permitted. Do as ls operation not permitted. This is weird. Do as conf permit so I'll type permit resist wheel enter. Now for some reason it works. Anyway, so what I did basically, I just retyped and also typed the enter at the end. That might be the issue, I'm not sure. But basically this is the settings for the do as permit persist calm wheel. Okay, so next thing we want to do is let me switch to tutorial. So we need to activate the power management daemon. In this case, that's AMD, APMD. So that's this part here. So I'll type rcctl enable APMD, and then we're going to configure it, and we'll say set APMD flags dash uppercase A. Why are we doing this? We're doing this because we want normal users to be able to suspend, go to hibernate, restart, shut down computer, and so on. And then rcctl let's also start it, APMD. Another thing that we're going to do right now is enabling the message bus or dbus compatible daemon rccdl enable message bus, and also we are going to start it because xfc depends on this thing. Next thing, for the regular user, I'm switching to regular user. So Control Alt F2, and you can see that there is a $sign. Whenever you see $sign, that means a regular user. Whenever you see a pound, that's root at the end of the prompt. So we'll need to create a file in root in the home directory called xsession, and then type exec start xfc4, enter, start xfc4. Yep, that's all. So now next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to enable rccpl enable xenodm, which is the blogging desktop manager for other desktop environments, and rcctl start xenodm, just to check if okay. The one thing is, before I start it, we need to configure the X windowing system. In my case, I use AMD GPU. So let me show you the message. Grab AMD GPU, and you can see it's set up VEGA 1064. The resolution right now 380/40 by 2160. And the most important part is the name of device, AMD GPU 0. So what you need to do right now is create folder called etc x11 x org.conf.d. That's the name of the folder of directory, and then copy the following file: user x11r6 share x11 xorg.conf.d, and then 10 AMD GPU conf to the following location: etc x11 xorg.conf.d 20 minus AMD GPU.conf. Next thing, edit that file that we just copied to etc x11 xorg 20 AMD conf, and change the name of identifier to be AMD GPU 0. Save and exit, and now say rcctl start xenodm, and it works. This is great. You also see a higher resolution, which means the driver is probably working, most likely working, and I hope it's working. And now I'm gonna log in as normal user, fantastic, and I'll type my password. And after this, we should see XFC actually run for the first time. And that's exactly what happened. This is awesome. So let me also show you that I want to lower actually this resolution so I can see what's on the screen. Go to settings, then display, and change the resolution to 1080. Also press enter, so the change is actually accepted. That's it. So we finally got the solution which we can see. I'll do some small adjustments here. I hit distractions by icons on a desktop. All right, let's test our browser. So from now on, I'm gonna execute and I'm gonna look for instructions from the Firefox inside of the OpenBSD. So let's see what's next. I would like to set up my webcam. So OpenBSD webcam. By default, the audio input and the video input are disabled. So I'll need to do a couple of things here. And you can also type FAQ. OpenBSD FAQ multimedia. So right now we're going to follow instructions to set up the camera and the input, like microphone or the camera input. So switch to root, SU, then type password for the root, and then execute line by line from here. First enable audio recording, which is input, yes, enter, then make it permanent. Excellent. Then scroll down and find using webcam. Also enable video recording. This is disabled by security because of the security reasons. And that's not all. What's really important here, you'll need to change the ownership of device video 0. So change ownership and make, that's my amtastic, that's my user. You can type your username here and then dev video 0. That's all. Let's see actually if as a normal user we can query the parameters from that for the device video 0, video -q-f /dev/dev 0, and yeah, it works. It showed all possible resolutions and frame rates and pixels and so on. So this should be it. There is more that we need to do. For the audio system, I'm going to use the PulseAudio. So type pkj add, actually first pkj info -q PulseAudio. So we need to install the PulseAudio and XFC4 PulseAudio plugin, but also this plugin depends on something called Power Control, which is a PulseAudio mixer, a graphical mixer. So we'll install all three of these at once, 3 packages at once. So pkj add, and then first one is PulseAudio, second one is XFC PulseAudio, and the third one is Power Control. Great. Then right click on a panel, and then go to panel, add new items, and from the list find the PulseAudio plugin. And right now we should be able to see also mixer, and from mixer recognize output, so on. That's great. Let's actually test the sound. So I'll go to youtube.com. I'll go to my video, so my videos don't get blacklisted. All right, let's see if you can hear the sound. For some reason I don't hear the sound. Let's check what's going on. Check the connection. Not sound for some reason. All right, let's see. PulseAudio. Let's restart it. Let's start it again. Failed to execute the Firefox. All right, let's then play nice. Let's reboot machine. Right. Let's now go to Yep, the audio is working, so it required actually restart for some reason. Volume, put the volume up here so you can hear it, or you can hear it like this. So I'm using my headsets basically and the microphone to show you that the audio is working. So we are fine here. And one more thing I want to show you, which we did in a previous step, was actually enabling the input and the microphone. So if I go to meet.git.c demo 0, I'll be asked right now, do I want to use my camera and the microphone? Yes, remember this decision, allow. And then I'm gonna type my name, Classic, join. So this is different camera. So this is not the camera that I'm recording to. This one is actually another camera attached to the OpenBSD machine. and it's actually working. So I would say we are completely fine here. So there it is. I showed you how you can install the OpenBSD, how you can set up the XFCE, and how you can set up also the audio and get your system basically running. In case you want to try something new, feel free first to check the OpenBSD FAQ, and then go from there. Tutorials are also around the internet. Also keep eye on the version. The most relevant version is 7.0, but 6.8 is also fine for the most of the things that you find. So that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoy, and I see you in the next one. Goodbye.